He would like to invoke the Insurrection Act, which allows the president to deploy the National Guard in times of agitation. But of course, a Trump-appointed judge in Oregon smacked this down the other day and denied him the ability to send the National Guard into Portland. So we're getting a lot of legal pushback, some of it from Trump-appointed judges, saying that he doesn't have the authority to do this. And he is, of course, building this argument that this is the reason that he has. And that's what this roundtable is attempting to show.
Time for the Trump dump, where we cross the pond and get the very latest news coming out of the White House, Washington and beyond. And we're joined by DC reporter Anita Powell. Anita, a warm welcome. Thanks for being with us.
Good evening, Kate.
Let's go straight to the breaking news, shall we? Donald Trump is at the moment speaking at the White House. He's holding a round table. Here's some of his comments over the last couple of minutes. He is focusing on Antifa, short for anti-fascist movement, of course. Last month, President Trump signed an executive order designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organisation. Here's what he's had to say in the last few minutes.
Antifa, that you've heard a lot about lately, and I've heard a lot about them for 10 years, and other far-left extremists have been carrying out a campaign of violence against ICE agents and other officials charged with enforcing federal law. In Chicago, anarchists have surveilled at least 4 local ICE facilities and posted diagrams of the buildings online, meaning nothing but bad, accompanied by photos of specific ICE agents that they're targeting, one in particular who's a top person and a great patriot. In July, approximately a dozen Antifa-aligned militants stormed the ICE facility in Texas and then lured officers out of the building before firing dozens of rounds at police. They were crazy, frankly.
Well, that's Donald Trump talking about Antifa. This is the focus of his roundtable, is it, Anita? Just give us some more detail if you can.
Yes, he's gathered about half a dozen journalists who are associated with non-traditional publications, usually right-leaning publications. And these journalists are going to speak in the state dining room of the White House about their own experiences covering the movement that Trump describes, Antifa. I just want to backtrack and talk about something that you just mentioned. In Trump's desire to label Antifa a terrorist group, a domestic terrorist group, there's no real legal framework to do that in the United States. We don't actually define domestic groups as terror groups. There are designations as hate groups. Those are compiled by non-governmental, nonprofit groups. But when he issued that executive order, it's not really clear what legal teeth.
So there's no such thing, essentially, Anita, as a domestic terror group.
I mean, I think lawyers might argue that. That's certainly what Trump is arguing.
Legally.
But yeah, legally, as it is right now, yeah.
Wow, okay, all right. What else is happening at this roundtable?
Well, Trump just broke some news for us. As we all know, negotiations have started, I believe, in Cairo to try to broker an end to the terrible conflict in Gaza. And Trump has just now said he might head over there for negotiations himself. He might leave on Saturday, he said, or on Sunday. So that's going to be obviously a big step. Right now, he has in place one of his closest friends and his trusted advisors, Steve Witkoff, and also his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who, as we know, is the architect of the Abraham Accords for normalization between Arab countries and Israel.
Okay, all right. There's lots of condemnation, lots of discussions going on about National Guard troops all the while as well. They're positioned outside Chicago. They could be in Memphis by Friday. What is the latest on this, Anita? We know that there have been various court actions to try and stop this from happening. Trump is determined that there is enough disorder to warrant National Guard troops in places like Chicago.
Right. So the president's argument, as we heard, is that there's a very serious left-wing terror threat and that this amounts to terrorism and insurrection. And he would like to invoke the Insurrection Act, which allows the president to deploy the National Guard in times of agitation. But of course, a Trump-appointed judge in Oregon smacked this down the other day and denied him the ability to send the National Guard into Portland. So we're getting a lot of legal pushback, some of it from Trump-appointed judges, saying that he doesn't have the authority to do this. And he is, of course, building this argument that this is the reason that he has. And that's what this roundtable is attempting to show. He has, for example, Attorney General Pam Bondi speaking right now as we speak, speaking of, what she says is a large increase in attacks against ICE agents. We have heard this line before, but what's worth noting is that in previous years, there weren't a high number of attacks on ICE agents. So, an 800% rise might have gone from like one agent attack to 8 agent attacks, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's all very relative. They're throwing around a lot of numbers here, but the language is very sharp coming out of the White House and out of these courts.
Trump has been congratulating Pam Bondi on a combative Senate hearing. Right. He is great with praise, it has to be said. As long as you warrant it, of course. It's all very pointed. She's sitting alongside Trump right now. Praise for the way she handled her oversight hearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee this week. It was amazing, says Trump, and she just did it from the heart and the brain because she's very smart, in all fairness, Trump said. She did an incredible, and everybody was talking about it.
Very kind words from the president. I mean, she was combative is a great way of putting it. I mean, to numerous senators, she said, I'm not going to speak about that. I'm not going to answer that question. What was especially interesting, of course, was some of her silence, actually, when she was asked if regarding the so-called, the Epstein files that members of Congress would like released to the public and whether Trump is in them. So that's definitely heightened tension around that issue. And that's something that Trump cares a lot about, obviously.
Yeah, there's a vote, isn't there, on the Epstein files, or there has been a vote.
So this is actually part of the current drama. And this was argued about on the Hill today. So the way it stands is there is a Republican-backed push to release the Epstein files, but they first need to swear in the deciding vote. This new representative from Arizona, her name is Anita Powell. She was sworn in. She won a special election after the death of her father, who was the previous representative. She would be the deciding vote on that. But Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has yet to swear her in. Now, this is leading to a lot of debate, discussion, argument on Capitol Hill over why. And that's the least of the problems we're seeing right now on the Hill.
Okay. I think you're referencing the government shutdown.
I am. We're in day 8 of it. And today we had two competing proposals from the Democrats and from the Republicans, and they shot each other down. So we are now, that was round 6 of attempts at a deal. We now remain with suspended government activities, hundreds of thousands of workers furloughed. And what's really important and interesting to note about this is we're seeing some of the effects already. What ended the last shutdown, which was under Trump in 2018 and 19, was tension over air traffic controllers who are federal employees. This led to massive delays at major airports. We are already in day 8 of this shutdown starting to see that at major airports, including at Reagan National Airport, which is every congressperson's favorite airport because it's right here in DC and it flies to their district. So time may tell how long they can hold out against this pressure from the aviation industry to open the government back up.
Yeah, let's hear from Hakeem Jeffries, the House's top Democrat, says his party are ready to negotiate on the funding bill.
We're on day 8 of the Republican healthcare crisis, a crisis that has been visited upon the American people for months and is causing great devastation to working class America, rural America, suburban America, small town America, the heartland of America, urban America, and black and brown communities all throughout America. House Democrats are here at the Capitol on duty and ready to reopen the government and enact a spending agreement that actually meets the needs of the American people.
That was Hakeem Jeffries, the House's top Democrat. I mean, just obviously showing willing. I suppose both sides are going to blame the other. I note that the IRS, the Inland Revenue, effectively, will furlough more than 34,000 workers. I can just imagine Americans jumping for joy at that, but they have clarified that, you can absolutely forget swerving your taxes. According to the plan, tax filing preparations will stay in place, but many taxpayer services are going to stop. It's this talk of a short-term funding bill, isn't it? So what was being discussed today was something that would fund the government until the 21st of November.
Right,
And
it's just kicking the can down the road effectively in terms of
exactly.
funding.
But they can't even do that, let alone the big mama of it all.
Right. And at the heart of this is this argument over subsidies for healthcare, the ACA, which I know is complete gobbledygook to your NHS audience. But basically, these healthcare premiums for people who purchase their own insurance are set to multiply in the next year. And of course, constituents are very upset about this. They're calling their members of Congress. And this is what the Democrats are saying is their main reason for stonewalling any Republican plans. They want to keep these subsidies in place so people can afford their health care. But of course, there are a number of other, complaints that both sides have about each other.
Okay. Well, look, we've been covering that nearly every day on this show. I mean, it must be frustrating for Americans. This one's pretty sizable. It's got 34. Got to get to 34 days to beat the record under that first Trump tenure. And just a quick one on the Nobel Peace Prize. It's due to be announced tomorrow, is it, Anita? Could Donald Trump get it? Is there a chance?
I mean, he would join a club of American heads of state who've received it. That would be Obama, Carter, Wilson, Teddy Roosevelt, and former Vice President Al Gore. So yes, I suppose there is a chance. And he has been nominated by, of course, Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu and by the governments of Pakistan, Azerbaijan,
Set to be named on
Rwanda.
Friday, apologies, rather than tomorrow.
Yeah, I was about to say on Friday, which, of course, Trump is set to leave for these important Gaza negotiations on Saturday. So maybe the committee will want to see the results of that before they make a decision.
Anita, it's been so great to speak to you. Thank you for summing that up so well. That is Anita Powell, DC reporter. Come back and speak to us again soon. Anita, thank you for being with us.